Hello, my name is Carolyn Hinds. I'm for our Comics Beat. And so my first question is for Dominique. I really enjoyed the film for both of you. And what really impressed me with the film is how much, I guess you could say, inner strength plays in to the story of power. And like initially you think it's about things like invisibility and like, unbreakable bones. But for Robin, to me, her superpower was rapping. And I wanted to ask you, as a performer, and especially as a young Black woman, like, what was it like to portray a character whose superpower to me is her voice, is the words that she can make?
Well, it felt instinctual. It felt at home for me because I first started acting and writing at the same time, and so writing and spoken word poetry and rhyme has always been a part of who I am and how I identify as not just an artist but as a person. So it felt at home. I feel like Robin is a manifestation of who I was when I was 15, and just seeing different actors, seeing Jamie and Joe on TV and wanting to do what they were doing. So Robin is a manifestation of who I was at that age. And I guess the strength it took to come from where I came from and be here with you guys today.
Mm. And for you, because the words were written by Chica, and you're the person who raps them, especially the credit song. How much collaboration did you have with her with creating the lyrics and the flow and the rhythm of it?
Matt Tomlin, the writer, had already kind of had an idea of the raps. So Chica just came in and just added like her real rapper flair, her like, her superpower ability in being a rhymer. Yeah. And what happened was we sat in a hotel room and just kind of talked about what it was that I wanted Robin to say, what I wanted to make sure it was in there, and she was very collaborative in that way. And the first time we met virtually, I did spoken word poetry for her, and she was like, "Oh, you got this. I'm not worried." So it kind of like launched from there.
Mm. And for Joseph, your character, he has a very special relationship with Robin, and they're to me an unlikely pair, right? And we would say it's almost cliche to say they're kind of like a Batman and Robin, but because your name is Robin. But I say that like without any sense of irony, because she's the one who to me keeps him grounded, where he could tend to like run off and like do what needs to be done. But Robin is like, you need to just think about this just a bit. But then he also like brings her in. And so for playing a character whose friend, who's like the only person that we see him interact with apart from his captain is a teenager. What was that like for you, like finding the common ground between the characters, and also for you and your character?
Yeah, I love that you picked up on their friendship, because that was an important thing for us. Because, like you said, they're an unlikely pair. It's a detective and a high school student. And I remember the first time that we rehearsed together, Dom and I, it was her suggestion. She was like, what if we do some improvisation and sort of get to experience their backstory of how these two people made friends? And so we did. We acted out what it was like the first time they met, and how it was that they ended up staying in touch, and how they got closer and came to care about each other. And I think having that backstory really helped when it came time to shoot the scenes in the movie. Then we had that rapport, and I feel the same about Dom just personally. Like I'm such a fan of hers. I'm so glad to have gotten to work with her, and it was a really, really wonderful experience. I both as a collaborator and as a friend.
Yeah, I think what helps sells the characters is the relationship that you can tell that you're both very comfortable with each other, and the way the line delivery is that it feels like conversations I would have with my older brother. My brother is 10 years older than me, and it feels like conversations we would have with each other. And I think that's what actually helps sells the relationships, not only between the two of you, but also then when art comes into the picture, it's like this perfect triangle, and like you each like give something to each other, and each take is like almost equal. And I'm like, I would love to see a part 2 to see how that develops. But for when you have the dynamic of bringing in Jamie Foxx and you have this triad, how do you as actors balance the what's the word I'm looking for? Balance the energy that you have to expend, because you have to make sure that when you give equally to each character, right, to each scene. So how do you balance that?
I mean, it felt just really natural when the three of us were together, on and off the set. We would just have a great time hanging out, and then when it came time to do the scenes with the three of us, yeah, it gets sort of extra complicated because Robin Scare, you could speak to it probably better, Dom, but she's sort of got this like big brother relationship with both of us, and then I've spent the whole movie thinking he's a bad guy. But then coming to realize like, oh, actually a lot of the things that I thought are getting turned upside down. A lot of the structures that I put my faith in are turning out to be corrupt. And Jamie becomes almost a messenger in that way. Like he shows me some of the truth.
Yes. So for Dominique, if you can speak to that, because like Robin is kind of the voice of reason for both of them. She has these two grown men, and she's the one that seems to be the voice of reason the majority of the time. She takes care of them. She mends their, like she stitches up bullet wounds, and she's like, you need to think about this, and you need to like give him the benefit of the doubt. And so for you, how was it like playing a character that has so much influence over two grown adults?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, growing up, I loved Man on Fire with Dakota Fanning and Denzel and like Natalie Portman and The Professional. And so I always hoped for my opportunity. I never imagined that it could be so great that it would be Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and that Robin would have such power in her own right. So that was just like icing on the cake. But being able to do, I think it's I'm glad that you picked up on that, because me playing teenagers, I find a huge responsibility. I respect teenagers a lot. I respect younger people a lot. I think that they have an innocence, and even when life forces them into things that may seem more adult, they still have this innocence. And I think everybody's saying Robin's superpower is her words, and they really are. But I think more so it's her ability to forgive and see past like first impressions and the facades that people are putting on. So she.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because like Art kidnapped her, threw her in the back of her trunk, and he gave her a motorcycle, and she's like, what, everything's A-okay. If it was me, I would have been like,
Yeah.
Well, she didn't say it was A-okay. She also was getting money, And I think more importantly though, she saw that he was looking for his daughter, and since she doesn't have her dad, to see a man go through hell and high water to get his daughter back really inspires something in her. And so if her dad wasn't looking for her, at least she could help this man find his daughter. A girl.
Yeah, she's a very emotionally intelligent character.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's enough. I think I have more time. So, for Joseph, like, what was it like for you filming the action scenes as a character whose superpower is being bulletproof?
It's so much fun. I mean, I mostly just had a great time doing this movie. I took a couple of years off acting recently because I had babies and I wanted to be a dad, and I was fortunate to get to do that. And the first job back was this really serious drama called 7500, which also just came out. But after doing something so heavy, I just wanted to do something fun. And when I read the script for Project Power, I was like, oh yeah, these action scenes, and it's Jamie Foxx, and we're going to New Orleans. This is definitely going to be fun, and it really was.
Yeah, it looks like a very fun film, and I was watching it with my sister. She was like, this is something like infinitely rewatchable, because I think there's something you could get like every time you watch it, especially with regards to the superpowers. And when I was watching, I was trying to guess like what Robin's superpower was, but then she started rapping, and I was like, there it is. Those are her words. I'm like, there's nothing stronger, there's nothing mightier than the pen.
What would you think it was though, if she did?
I actually think it has something to do with speed because of the motorcycles. So thank you so much for speaking to me. It was great to talk to both of you.
Thanks a lot. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.